Hello, how is it going?
What's happening, Zach?
Nothing much. Wonderful day. Almost weekend time.
Yes, sir. It's almost the weekend. It is December 2nd, 2021, and we are in the Sports Brothas show. As you can see, he's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. We are going to discuss NFL. We're going to get into the NCAA college football scene. And we might talk about one or two other things, but those are the main topics for today, ladies and gentlemen. So, Zach, are you ready to get this thing started?
I am always ready there, Mr. 411.
All right. Well, the music's about to hit.
All right. This is about to be a great weekend.
I
What
bet.
say you?
Oh well, yeah, it's going to be a very exciting weekend. So especially if you're a football fan, it's an exciting weekend, exciting time. You have the NFL with their playoff push, and you have the NCAA with their playoff push. So I mean, you can't ask for much more than that, Zach. Well, I guess maybe you can because when we get into the NCAA discussions, your team is going to really have a major say in things. So I know you can't wait to talk about that.
My team and a lot of other individuals' team. Before we go forward, though, how was your Thanksgiving? Because we ain't talked to each other, at least on the show, since then.
Thanksgiving was fun. It was relaxing. Got a lot of football in and a lot of rest, and so can't complain about that. How
What
about
about
you?
eating?
I didn't eat too much. You know what I'm saying? But I did eat, but not too much. So that was a good thing. That was a major accomplishment.
Yeah, I'll say the same. I definitely wanted to eat way more than what I did, but I did not since I went to someone's house and I wanted to be respectful and, kind of go that way. But I think coming up for Christmas, I'm going to make sure that I make my own separate meal. That way I can pig out for 3 or 4 days after it's over with just to have the leftovers. Because I think I like that as much as just a dinner or lunch on that day.
Yeah, I did happen to squeeze in the stock to them alone, if you will,
Okay.
the dressing and the cranberry sauce.
Yes.
So yeah, I had to make sure the stock to Malone was taken care of.
Well,
Um,
I definitely did not get any tea cakes because no one on this side of the world would know what the hell that is or how to make it. I'm pretty sure.
wow, they don't make tea cakes in El Paso, Zach.
I feel pretty confident
Oh,
that no one here does that except my aunt, maybe,
oh
and
wow,
she was out of town.
man. Okay, well, welcome everybody to the show. And before we get this party started, there's three things we love for you to do.
Yes, please do that. And once again, that is his probably favorite part of the show. The producers and him got that together, and it gets all warm and fuzzy on the inside whenever it plays.
Yeah, but yeah, please hit that like, that subscribe, and that notify because there's a lot of information that's being given. And Zach, speaking of information, Thursday night NFL, it's already off and running.
Yes,
America's
it is.
team, yes,
Yep.
sir.
You may see
America's
me turn
team,
left a couple times just
yeah,
to see what's
okay,
going on.
good. Keep us updated. But America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, they are in New Orleans playing the Saints, and believe the score is 10-7 in favor of Dallas. And so Dallas Cowboys looking to bounce back from their Thanksgiving defeat to the Raiders, with a home
Yes,
loss to the Raiders. So they have to make up for that one.
they
At
do.
least,
They ruined Thanksgiving because I was at a place where a lot of people were Cowboy fans. So when they lost, the mood changed dramatically.
wow. Okay. Well, they're back at it. And the good thing about this matchup is that both teams played on Thanksgiving. So the Saints, they were demolished by the Buffalo Bills, but they did play Thanksgiving. So both teams have a full week from Thursday to Thursday. We don't get that too often in the NFL. So maybe both teams will be rested up enough and to make this a interesting contest all the way through. But since they are playing, Zach, and we're going to jump into our NFL picks for this week. My pick just so happened to be this matchup that's going on right now, which is the
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys at the Saints. And for me, I have the as far as my prediction on this, I have the Cowboys winning this matchup. I think that Taysom Hill at quarterback, that's another quarterback change. This will be his first start, for the team. And so he's got to get acclimated to things. He's already not one of the better throwers in the league. So,
That
so
is being kind.
yeah, so that's going to help. So I think Dallas will be prepared more so on the defensive end to game plan him right now. I know that Hill is very mobile and, he could tend to get some yards on the ground. But, this is the NFL. And with you being a backup already and not a great passer, that's kind of like tailor-made for Dallas. And I think that Dallas defensively should keep the Saints down enough in the scoring column to where their offense and they're with Dallas getting back Amari Cooper, CD Lamb. I think that
Yes.
they should be able to put up enough points to get the victory tonight. So for that, I have Dallas getting the victory over the Saints.
Sounds good.
So
Uh,
what I do now is pass it back to you because I know you have your pick of the week, one of your picks.
well, the first game I have is Eagles versus Jets, and I I know you didn't really do it, but I kind of always go off of the line just to that gives you an idea what Vegas or whoever thinks
Okay.
about what the two teams are, just to let you know. Uh, Jets are +6.5. So basically, going into the game, the Jets get 6.5 points to start. Uh, I am taking the Eagles. This is pretty simple for me. Jalen Hurts is greater than my boy Zach Wilson. I know I've been gone for a while, and y'all probably thought I wasn't going to be picking on him again, especially after he beat the Titans that one week. But he's back. I'm back. It's like it was meant to be. So Jets fall to the Eagles, especially since the Eagles kind of sort of laid an egg last week. They probably would have thought that they should have beat the Giants, or at least went into it thinking that they should beat the Giants. So I'll take the Eagles. Jets are just a bad team this year. Like it really isn't any, I think, movie magic. And not only will I take the Eagles, but I'll take the Eagles by 7 points or more. So the Eagles cover. So maybe your dad
Okay,
will
cool.
be a little bit happier this weekend with the home team getting a dub for
Well, if they lose to the Jets, I mean, that says it all. You know what I mean? They might as well pack up too with the Jets if they lose this game. So, the Eagles already blew one against the Giants last week. So I can
them.
only
Yes.
imagine what would happen, with my dad and all my cousins out of the Philadelphia area. I'll be on that text string, as the game is going on. So I'll be interested to see how the reaction is if there's an upset.
Yeah.
But they should win, like you said, man. The Eagles should pull that
You
one
would
out.
think. And sorry, Lacey. I know the Jets are your team. Ain't trying to pick on them. They kind of got the cowboy thing going on. Next year is our year.
Yes, sir. Man, Miss Lacey too. But Zach,
Yes.
my matchup, my next matchup, is the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens are 8-3, Steelers are 5-5-1, and that one is to the Detroit Lions. And man, look, Pittsburgh really needs this game. Their offense is really, 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 really struggling. And
Once again, you
I
were
mean,
being kind.
there's no other. I mean, yeah. Ben is like, I mean, he's from what I'm reading, he's one of the lowest graded quarterbacks right now. I mean, the only one that's probably worse than that is your boy Zach Wilson.
I think there's a couple worse than him, but yes, for him to be a veteran like he is, he shouldn't be down there with those guys.
Yeah, he's down there, and well, so we'll see what happens there. TJ Watt is in COVID 19 protocol, so things are just, I mean, it's just spiraling right now in Pittsburgh, and they really got to pick themselves up. But this is the wrong team to have to do it against. The Ravens are a rival, a hard hitting team. It should be a hard hitting game, but I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to get it done. I think they're going to go into Pittsburgh. And like you said, you like to talk about the spreads, and this is the Ravens are what, -4.5 on this one. And I think that the Ravens, of course, I'm not trying to pick against the spread or anything, but I think the Ravens will win this game in Pittsburgh straight up. And the guy right there on the screen is going to be the major difference maker.
Well, I hope so because he played terrible last week, and he
Right.
admitted that to himself. So he has a lot of motivation to play well this week.
Yes, sir. What say you, man?
Next one for me is the Jags at the Rams, and this one is pretty easy. The Rams were the Super Bowl pick by a lot of teams. It is, also Stafford was supposedly all of his troubles in Detroit were because of the Detroit organization and not him. He's had a rough few weeks, and I get a first-hand look or bird's eye look at Stafford because he is my fantasy quarterback. So when he is not playing well, it directly affects me in the league, and you know this. We need him to play well this week. So maybe I'm projecting some, but it's a 13. I'm sorry, the Rams are -13.5. So they're giving that to the Jags. I expect the Rams to kind of put it on the Jags.
Okay.
The Jags are one of the worst teams in the league. The Rams, at least from a talent standpoint, I know they've had some injuries, are one of the better teams in the league. They don't have an excuse playing at home not to really thump the Jags. Now, ultimately, I'm kind of like you. These spreads can get a little sketchy, which is why Vegas makes all the money they make. And anytime it's double digits, I personally get a little nervous. And especially once you get close to 14 points, I really get nervous because these are professional teams. But Stafford has to play better. He just really does. The organization and the coach invested a lot in him by trading Goff and draft picks to get him to come to the Rams. This is if you want to go, maybe this is one of those times you can be a bully. This would be a time they need to be a bully and kind of start feeling good again, and you build up momentum for the postseason.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see, because it's definitely like we said earlier, it's the playoff push, and there's games that you can't blow. And losing to the Jags again, similar to what we talked about earlier with other matchups, it's not the time to blow games like that. And so, yeah.
And not just to blow the game, but kind of like you when I saw you on the bag doing your drills for boxing. Sometimes you just got to go out there and get a little work in so you feel good. And what was that? They say Wesley Snipes or Sydney in White Man Can't Jump. So pretty. So pretty. When you look good, you feel good, and that's going to make you play good. Or at least that's the prevailing wisdom some of the time.
Yeah. All right. That's something that my boy Deion says too. Deion Sanders, he likes to say that too.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right, man. All right. So we're gonna slide it back over to me. All right. Here's a matchup that I'll play. I'll pay special attention to because it involves my team, Seattle Seahawks. What a disappointing season so far. 3-8. You know what I mean? 49ers are now a team that's, they're back on the rise, man. They're 6-5. They put together some good wins. And what a better time to play Seattle than now, where the Seahawks have been struggling.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, I'm not certain if Russell is really all the way back yet from that injury.
No.
But he's going to gut it out. I think he realizes, hey, I need to play. And again, no excuses. I mean, when you're on the field, it is what it is. But I think that, I think the 49ers are in a good spot. However, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. I do think that, and I'm not saying this just because they're my team, because
Uh,
I will
hey,
say that they'll lose. But I
hey,
do,
nothing
but
wrong with look. Ain't nothing wrong with taking your brother just because of your brother. Look, family is family.
I understood.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep, understood. But I if I don't feel like they're gonna win the game, I'll say it. And I feel like this is the time right here because Russell has had a couple weeks now to play, and the loss on Monday night, it was a disappointing loss, no doubt about it. But I do think that Russell will get it together back at home this time. Seahawks do have a good history of beating the 49ers. And so I think that they will score enough points this week. Debo Samuels is out for the
Oh, that's
49ers.
a big loss. He
Yeah,
he
so
is
that
a integral part of their offense.
yeah. So and then you never know. You might get a bad Garoppolo this week. He may turn the ball over. And playing in Seattle is never fun. It's never easy for opponents. And so I think Seattle will step it up this week, and they may take advantage of a couple of turnovers. And I can see Russell putting some more points on the board than the 15 that was put on the board Monday night against Washington football team, the
Well, I'm gonna hope he does.
WFT. Yeah, so I'm going with Seattle, and especially when you say something like this, Russell, your resume, you overcome, and you're gonna keep being one. So, whatever you're trying to say there, Russ, show up this week, make me look good, Russell. All right, make me look good. On you, Zach.
Well, I will say good good pick, uh, and I'm not so sure Russell Wilson won't be with the New York Giants next year, but
Yeah.
that's I guess a discussion for another day. My next one is Denver at KC, and it's KC minus 9.5. Same thing, kind of like with the Rams. The KC is lucky to be in the lead in their division, and really the AFC, the AFC is kind of they cut them some slack and didn't take advantage of Casey, be it trying to find theyself, feeling theyself, whatever it was that had them. Almost what you're saying about Seattle. Mahomes was really out of sorts on the offensive side, and the offense looked bad. They have gotten their running back. I'm sorry, man. This sounds bad to
Yeah.
say. Running
Yeah.
back, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire.
Right.
That
CEH.
helps
Yeah.
some,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not so sure anyone the NFL has figured him out as much as just a defense as a whole or have adjusted to the rules better. And of course, the more film you get, just the better you understand how to play against a team. So that's been part of their issues. Now we get to Denver. Denver just to me doesn't have enough firepower. They look nice. It's the record they have now. They should be happy with, but they need more. And Bridgewater, he's a trooper. Good for him that he is getting an opportunity to start. I would expect Kansas City to put up big numbers at home this game also to cover that 9.5 easily. And they're another team. And Andy Reid doesn't get enough credit for being as great of a coach as he is. Another team is making that playoff push, trying to make sure that as they're going to the playoffs, everything is going well. And you talked about Baltimore. Right now, they're the 1 seed, but they haven't really looked great in their past 2 games. It's like they're doing their best not to be the 1 seed. So,
Good point.
so KC can see that in sight, and with all of this, I guess the bad luck or difficulties they have, they get the 1 seed. You got to come through Kansas City. They feel pretty good. Plus, you may remember this when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. We were,
Yes.
I think, as a world, were in shock. What happened to Kansas City in the Super Bowl was kind of one of those things where they're like, oh, they are human. And then now teams are not as afraid of them. And we saw that kind of with Mike Tyson. That after people actually saw him go down, they weren't as scared to go into the ring with him as before. Kansas City has to somehow figure out a way to get that fear in the other teams back where they were winning games before they even stepped on the field. And I think this week also will help them do that.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, we have one more matchup, right? So this is matchup number 7, and we each had 3 there. And here's one that we both want to discuss, and that's the New England Patriots and Buffalo Bills Monday night footballs, and looks like the AFC East. The AFC East standings are on the line here, and
Yes, most
so this
definitely.
is in the football world. As the calculator said earlier today, the Patriots are like the talk of the town right now. And this is going to be a game right here where we can kind of see what they're made of. So in Buffalo, you know, they're trying to take over this AFC East, where the Patriots had a stranglehold over it for decades. So, what say you about this matchup?
Well, uh, first, I'm with the calculator that the Patriots have generated a lot of buzz. They have 8 wins. They're probably going to end up with a winning record, which is good. And my guess is they get into the playoffs. Mac Jones has been much better than I anticipated him being. I need to see more from him because I still kind of sort of believe that Alabama, he was a product of the skill players around him. And even now, he's got great coaching. They have the training wheels on, but I have to give him credit for being adequate at the position. And the Patriots saw something in him that he could come in and keep his hands on the steering wheel, 10-2, not drive the car off the road, not go past the speed limit. So really, really good for him. The Bills were my Super Bowl pick in the AFC.
Yeah,
They have played really terrible. I contribute part of that, of course, and we talk about Josh Allen. And they may have jumped the gun, which teams do, and given him all this money. And now they're on the hook for him because once they start paying that big money to him, he's got to overcome all of the stuff that just comes when, say, your left tackle's out. You don't have the type of wide receivers that everybody else has. Oh, I'm sorry, the elite level wide receivers. You don't have great running backs. I think we kind of went into that last game. Um, More importantly for him, Mac Jones is probably here to stay in this division. So this should be, one matchup or the first matchup of many between the two.
right.
Is Josh Allen going to be the better of the two? Because if not, you're Buffalo and you signed up for this. That could be a problem. I'm going to take the Bills. I think it's a 2.5-point spread.
Yep.
And for those that don't normally know, they usually give the home team 3 points. So they actually feel like the Patriots are a slightly better team. I'm going to take the Bills to win and to cover. But I must say, I am terrified of the Josh Allen roller coaster because who knows what the hell you go get with him. He might go out there and have 4 turnovers. So we'll see. And if I had to put money down going forward in the future, my guess is that it seems the Patriots actually end up with the better quarterback, only because he is just more even. He's like maybe not the bumper cars, but the little kitty cars at the carnival that you ride, and they're just nice and safe for the little that's what he is. And Josh Allen is just one of those terrified roller coasters.
Yeah.
It's a lot to put your I invest in and have your faith in.
Yeah, man. And when you bring up Josh Allen, I think for this particular game, I think he will be the difference in this game. I think his rushing ability is what's going to, be the difference here. As you stated earlier about the turnovers, if he can limit the turnovers in this particular game, I think they can pull out the home victory. But yes, I think they're going to split when they play in New England.
Okay.
But for tonight, for Monday night, I think the Buffalo will kind of squeak this one out. But it'll be a good learning curve or learning opportunity for Mac Jones. Big game, spotlight game, and it's on the road. And so I think this will be good for him and a good test. As I've been saying all season long, the Patriots, they had eight starters on defense out. Because they had opted not
Yes.
to play last year. So, what we're getting is a better defensive team as well. and a quarterback that's turning out to really handle the team well. So you get that combination, that formula, you're going to get victories, and that's what New England has done. They've taken advantage of a lot of games that they supposed to win, and then and even getting that win earlier in Los Angeles, that was a big win, and that I think that kind of helped steer them in this direction too. So yes, I'm excited about this one. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Like you said earlier, the 2.5 spread, that lets you know right there this should be a good one, and so I'll be tuning in to watch it.
And just say that people were a little quick to throw the dirt on Bill Belichick's grave. He's a great coach, and
Agreed.
we don't have to like I don't like to do this defensive thing sometimes, because I think when you're a great defensive mind, you have to understand offense to be a great defense. And I just always go back to the greatest performance I think I saw in a Super Bowl, as far as by a team outside of when the Giants beat the 18-0 Patriots, is when the New York Giants with Parcells on it, and Belichick as a defensive coordinator, beat the Bills. That
Right.
Bills team, like I said, that was a Tecmo Bowl Bills team that used to light people up, and it was just they were phenomenal with Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly,
Yep.
and
Andre Reed.
yes, and they held the K gun down with a very simplistic offensive attack and with a great defensive attack. So give Belichick credit. Tom Brady definitely has earned what he's earned, but Belichick will get a chance to coach for a while, and I think this is his type of team that he can make things happen, especially when he's got a guy that, like, Belichick knows that the spotlight is on him. Football players have egos, coaches have egos. He doesn't want the narrative to be that all of his legacy is because of Tom Brady or because he cheated.
Right. All right. Well, you mentioned spotlight, and it's time to put the spotlight on one of our sponsors, Zach. Matter of fact, it is our major sponsor, and that's Heavenly Spa Mobile, 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101A, Macon, Georgia, 31204. Latanya can be reached at 478-747-9231. That's 478-747-9231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, where relaxation is the key.
Man, you are so good with that.
Well, we thank Latanya for all the things that she does for the Sports Brothers and for all the shows. And she is our major supporter. And if you don't believe me, Latanya can let you know herself.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Latanya with Healthy Spa Mobile. I'm a licensed massage therapist and owner. I've been practicing 18 years. If you're in need of any stress relief, tension, muscle, body aches, or just want to relax, you need to get yourself a massage. And please come check me out again at Heavenly Spa Mobile. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue. And I can be reached at 478-747-9231. Or you may go online to healthyspa-mobile.com. I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Latanya looks forward to seeing you.
Yes, she does.
And we're looking forward to talking about the college football playoff scene. And we'll jump into that real quick. And
yes, as this last 10 seconds of the half plays out.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, while we're checking out the last 10 seconds too, Zach, just to put a bow on Heavenly Spa Mobile, as Dallas is working their way down the field, let Latanya work on you as well with the massage. She does the deep tissue massages. She does the Swedish, and she uses the hot stones and all that kind of stuff. So whatever you need, she could take care of it. If you have a hairline like mine, she also do the scalp massages and things like that. As you can see on the screen, best of the best. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Chicago Bulls, like 3 people. You know what I'm saying? So, this is quality stuff here at Heavenly Spa Mobile. And Zach, you know about this, but unfortunately, people like yourself and me, we can't be first timers anymore. But if you haven't had a massage, with the Heavenly Spa Mobile. First timers, check out the intro special. It's only $70. You get an hour there, $70. You can't beat that. And we also like to congratulate Heavenly Spa Mobile for getting the Best of Georgia nominee. So Heavenly Spa's
Yes,
doing big things, Zach.
congratulations. They are. And definitely congratulations to Latanya. She is a really good person and deserves it. And I think everyone will be very happy if they go get a massage from her. She does an excellent job and takes pride in her work.
There you go. All right. And it is the holiday season, Zach. What a better time to hit her up and get those gift certificates out there or treat yourself.
Yes.
And if you can't figure out what to get someone, get them a gift certificate. They'll appreciate
From Heavenly Spa Mobile. I do it all the time.
Yes, sir. All right. All right, Zach. It is time. It's time to get into the NCAA, get into the college football, playoff scene. But more importantly, we also have all these conference matchups, man. And you are our football aficionado, expert, former great cornerback. You know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to this discussion because there's a lot of things that can happen over the weekend, which will determine things that's happening in the bowl season. So I'll pass it over to you right now. I'm giving you the screen pass is going to you, Zach.
First, it's 13-7 Cowboys. They kicked a field goal to end the half. And do we have the college football playoff rankings? Just so everybody can see those of us.
Sure, we can see what the producers have.
Yes. And that's where we are at going into the weekend. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Alabama 3, Cincinnati 4. I believe Oklahoma State is 5. And I think Notre Dame is 6, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I want to say that's how it's falling. So the first matchup we have will be Friday night, Oregon versus Utah. And I'm not really all into the Pac-12. Oregon, disappointing season for Oregon because Oregon honestly should be in the college football playoff. No shame that they lost to Utah at Utah. That can be a tough place to play. What is difficult, or what they should be ashamed of, is that they ended up losing to Stanford, a team that was not that great this year. And if they only had one loss, win this game, they're in the college football playoff. I expect Oregon to win this time. As you said, it's a neutral site game in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I know what the line is. Oregon went through some injuries and had some other things going on, but they're not a bad team. Mario Cristobal, pretty good coach. He was talked about for, I think, the Florida job and the LSU job because of how good he does, how well he does at recruiting.
Okay. And
this is a spot I would expect Oregon to stand up, get to go to the Rose Bowl. From a Pac-12 perspective, going to the Rose Bowl is always a big deal. So that would be a decent cherry on the top for that program. As I said, they need to feel a little shame they aren't making the college football playoff again, but this type of stuff happens. Next game would be Baylor, Oklahoma State. Anybody that was, into last week college football saw Oklahoma State against Oklahoma. Oklahoma State, depending on how you want to look at it, put the final nail in the Lincoln Riley coffin at Oklahoma, or maybe
wow.
I won't say coffin because Lincoln Riley had done well. Maybe just caused him to look at his options other places, and that's why he ended up going to USC. And we can get into the coaching carousel maybe next week of how everything is going.
Yeah.
But this Oklahoma State team, I'm not going to say they're strong. Big 12 is down this year, I'd say, by the normal standards. But Oklahoma State isn't bad for, especially in comparison to the other Big 12 teams. They're pretty good. They, by Big 12 standards, play pretty decent defense. which
By
you
that
don't
time,
hear
yeah.
too much in the big. It's not SEC defense or maybe even Big Ten defense, but by Big 12 standards, not too bad. I expect Oklahoma to actually, I'm not going to say handle Baylor. I want to say they won last time 24-14 at home against Baylor. This one, once again, is a neutral site, actually at a Jerry World. But I would expect Oklahoma to win this game. And more so for Gundy, it seems the kind of theme of at least this part of the season is becoming about coaches. Mike Gundy, it needs this win. He's one of the veteran coaches in the Big 12. You just lost, or your rival just lost their coach who had been dominating the conference. You need to get this win just to get a good taste in your mouth, kind of like one of the other coaches that we'll talk about. So I would take Baylor. I'm sorry, I said Baylor. I mean Oklahoma State to win.
Okay.
Next up, Houston at Cincinnati. This one, it kind of before, like the game before, definitely has college football playoff implications because Cincinnati wins or loses could still be affected by Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 and being a one-loss team. I think the conventional wisdom is that the committee doesn't want Cincinnati to be in there because they're a non-Power 5 school. I'm not so sure how true that is. I think it may lie in more that Cincinnati hasn't necessarily played a great schedule. And outside of the Notre Dame win, they've had some wins that were much closer than you would expect. The past couple of weeks, they've been able to get that bad taste out of the mouth of when you watch them, that they're playing against teams that you don't consider to be that good close. Houston, I actually think is pretty good. Dana Holgorsen,
yeah,
it hasn't been a bad coach there. They're 11-1. I'm not going to call the outright upset with Houston, though I have been telling Orion, don't just count Cincinnati winning this game. I will say this is one of the ones I did look at the point spread on. It's 10.5 for Cincinnati. They're playing at home. I will give Cincinnati to win because they have all the motivation in the world. But I expect Houston to play them closer. Keep in mind when you start talking about as you were talking about CFP implications, if Cincinnati doesn't win this game, not only will they possibly fall out of the top 4, though I don't think they should, if they don't win it, fall out of top 4. But I guess depending on how you look at it, some people might say, well, Houston beat them, they should be in. But they may not only fall out of top 4, but may not get a New Year's Six bowl either, because if you're a non-Power 5 team, I think you have to be in the top 12 and you have to be a conference champion to be in the New Year's Six bowl. They lose the game, they wouldn't be a conference champion, and that kicks them out. So they have a lot on the line with this. And my guess is too, Luke Fickell is not going to take the Notre Dame job. It's rumored that he's in there, but I don't think that he is. I guess we would know after the game, but that would then be a double kick that you don't take the Notre Dame job because you're staying in Cincinnati because you feel like you have a great opportunity and you miss out this way. So that is one to watch.
Yeah, they definitely have something on the line there. So, wow, that is a must-see game.
Yes.
Now that you put it that way, Zach, it's definitely a must-see, a must-watch game for college football fans.
Yeah, I would, as I said, I would keep them in, but I guess depending on how everything falls, I would keep them in. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Next up, Michigan versus Iowa. I'm not going to go into this one too much. At one time, Iowa was number 2 in the nation. They've had their struggles on offense, and I give Iowa credit as a program. They don't get the blue chip recruits, and this has been a nice season for them. So even if they lose this, nothing to hang their head about. They should get a decent bowl game. Michigan, you can't lose this game. More importantly, Harbaugh, you can't lose this game. This is kind of going back to Gundy, but more so for Harbaugh. He definitely got the monkey off his back with Ohio State. I didn't think that they would be able to get that type performance in, only because Ohio State had looked at least clearly better against inferior talent, but also Michigan. You just look at some of the games, and I remember the Michigan State game where the Michigan State running back Walker got the 5 touchdowns, and that's probably what got Mel Tucker his $95 million contract. So congrats to Mel Tucker, another coach cashing in, doing his thing. Harbaugh took a pay cut last year. I don't know how many people know that, but Michigan was thinking about cutting ties. They only won 2 games last year, so he took a pay cut to stay. And I think many in the Michigan organization and alumni thought when he loses this game, this is our excuse to get rid of him. And maybe he understood that too. And I'd say people don't realize how much this affects a lot of individuals, these games, because Harbaugh, if he does get canned, his coaches possibly get canned. They're moving their families, looking for new jobs. So they had a lot of motivation to win. And that win probably gives him an extra 2 years there at Michigan. But not if he loses this game. He needs to, this is one he needs to get. I would take Michigan, and I'm not going to say I take Michigan big. I expect Iowa to be scrappy. Their defense is opportunistic, but I'll take Michigan by 10. And I said not, and it'll be a difficult 10, but I'll take him by 10. Harbaugh gets all of the good feelings, and then he goes to the CFP. And depending on the matchups, things might end really well for Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you what, Zach. Iowa, you mentioned, Iowa at one point in time, they was top 5 in the country. Am I right?
Yeah, they were number 2.
Yeah. So, there it is. So this is one that Michigan, have to be aware of and
absolutely.
Don't have that hangover, and getting that huge victory over the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well,
absolutely.
There should not be. Look, this should not be a hangover because, as I said, you lose this one, all those good feelings that you got from beating Ohio State are gone.
Right. Absolutely. All right. What does that leave, Zach?
Is there anything else left? I thought we were done with the show for today.
Yeah. We can't end it like that.
Yep.
I know you're trying to suppress some things, but here's that moment, man. This is what your team has been. It's not the final destination, but this is something that
No.
I know they've been working towards.
This is the final destination. Like all of that other stuff, it's nice. This is the final destination. This is like Portland Lakers. You win this one, this probably wins you the national championship. Wow. And you don't win this one, you got a lot of people looking at you. And Georgia versus Alabama, 4 p.m. this Saturday. We'll start with Alabama because they are a historic program, as you and I know, both being in the South.
Yes.
Goes without saying, my father and damn near everybody on his side of the family on my Facebook are Alabama fans. Little brother has already been texting me and telling me, don't worry about us having a close victory against Auburn. We gonna be fine and ready to go for the game. Outside of having Paul Bear Bryant, they ended up getting Coach Saban. So however you want to rank them, probably 1 and 2 greatest coaches, not just in Alabama history, but in college football history. And I can't say I feel totally confident in this game because Coach Saban is on the other sideline. And then we can look at the rest of that coaching staff. Those individuals, Alabama is a machine. They go about their business. Now, the good thing about Alabama is they've been, and I don't think people take this into consideration, they just kind of assume that you're supposed to win every year and do it like this. This is not how programs do. You and I growing up remember Penn State, Joe Paterno, 2 national championships. Florida
Right.
State, Bobby Bowden, 2 national championships. The only program that was kind of out there really doing it like that was Miami, and I think they got 5 somewhere, in our lifetime or whatever. But most of the time, you won 1. Maybe you got lucky and won 2, and you kind of went away and you were just good, but you didn't get it. Tom Osborne, for as great as he was, it took him a long time to get the first national championship, and then he got. We'll go. Maybe the media helped him with 1, but he won 3 like in a 4-year period, I believe.
Right.
But you don't do what Alabama has done, and I don't think people should take that lightly. And even now, and I talk about this normally, Coach Saban and Alabama typically kind of lose 1 game a year for the most part, and they are in the national championship conversation until the end of the year. And last week, it looked like they were not going to be in that conversation, 97 yards away. And I don't know if it was John Elway, the drive, but very resilient by Alabama. So Georgia fans that are all wanting to have a party and think this is kind of going to be easy, I'm not so sure. And then even when Alabama loses, if you look at it, I think outside of the Clemson loss a couple years ago in the national championship, there was a blowout. It's normally a 1-score game when they lose. Like they either have a chance to drive and win the game, or the team that they're playing is driving to finish them off. Now, I think I have shown Calvin McCoy, my dad, my brothers, and other family members that are Alabama fans their proper respect. And now, with that said, we will talk about the Georgia side. And on the Georgia side, I could give you all of these numbers about Georgia, which, here we go. Georgia hasn't beat Alabama since 2007. We know that. We've had the blowout, I want to say in 2008, where Georgia was down 31-0. That was a bad year with Stafford. Not a good feeling. I think the last time Alabama was not favored to win a game was 2015 when they came to Athens to play Georgia. That's a nice picture of some of the defensive linemen for Georgia, especially Big 99. Actually, 99 and 88, both doing great jobs for the team. But Georgia was favored, and that didn't go so well for Georgia. Last year, they got boat race. We can go back to the national championship game. Georgia had the lead, lost that one. SEC championship game, had the lead, lost that one. Georgia is 12-0 for the first time since they won the national championship in 1980. I don't think it was the most daunting schedule, but still 12-0. 8-0 for the first time ever in SEC play, in part because you didn't play this many games before, but still 8-0. And the defense is only giving up 6.92 points a game. And as you showed the picture again, Big 99, Jordan Davis is getting Heisman push because he's an integral part of that defense. Now, all of those numbers, all of those things I told you, this history of Georgia losing to Alabama, that doesn't matter. Because come this Saturday, do we have a picture of Kirby? I think we have a picture of Kirby. Come Saturday, that's what matters. Don't tell me about talent. Don't tell me about, Alabama is down this year. They just lost their running back. They shouldn't be able to run the ball against us. I know they got a outstanding wide receiver from Ohio State, which how the hell was he not able to play at Ohio State? Like, Williams is ridiculous. Quarterback, nice young guy. I think he's got like $700,000 NIL deal that he's cashing in on, and he has shown, look, whoever did that, his deal is probably going to go up next year because the young man might win the Heisman. And if he doesn't win it this year, he would definitely be a leading candidate next year. All these top 5 classes that Georgia's pulled in and guys underperforming or not performing. I see Mel Tucker, Kirby's former assistant, just got a bump, 10-year, $95 million. I'm sure Kirby went home to the wife and she's like, what the hell is he getting that type money for? You ain't got that type money. And Kirby is under his contract until 2025. So when you start talking about trying to rip up contracts, why am I going to rip up a contract, Mr. 411, if you, A, ain't winning national championships, but B, every time you see Nick Saban and this Alabama team, you somehow wet the bed. So that picture of that guy is what it's about. I don't care how Georgia has to get it done. If it has to be turnovers by the defense for them to score, you should win the game. If it has to be, you got to win this game 60-59, then you got to play Big 12 style, and you got to get it done that way. But you have the opportunity now to eliminate Alabama from the college football playoff, and then you don't even have to worry about them. You get names like a possible Cincinnati, a Oklahoma State. The only one in there I would even think about worry about is Coach Harbaugh, who I do think is a great coach, though it has not shown in Michigan like you would think that it did at Stanford and with the 49ers. So I'm not going to predict a Georgia win because I don't have faith in that guy there that you just put his picture up. I have talked about him for the longest. That guy made his bread under Nick Saban, got a premier job at Georgia without having any coaching experience. He's a Georgia alum. Everybody loves him. They love to talk about this, talk about that. And all of that's fine. So I'm not going to pick the game, but I am going to tell you this. Alabama's going to be one-dimensional. Georgia has the best defense in the land. Georgia's quarterback, while he's not great, their offense, if you looked at Auburn last week, they should be able to play well enough to handle Alabama. And if I'm Kirby Smart and we don't win by 17 points, I'm going to be really disappointed. So Kirby Smart team is 17 points better than Alabama team. I don't give a damn what the spread says. And if he don't win by 17 plus points, I might fly to Georgia and slap him in the mouth myself because I'm tired of this. I don't want to hear about how great he is anymore and all this other stuff. Get it done. I told you at the beginning of the season, this Alabama team was a down team. And here we are. We're going to make the college football playoff regardless of whatever. Alabama needs this game more than us. But you know what? We talked about Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson earlier. Yep. Be Buster Douglas and end this. Or just be Evander Holyfield and hand Mike Tyson his ass. Regardless of whatever, at about, we'll go, 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night. If I ain't running around my place half naked, around the block half naked, because we done wore Alabama's ass out, every damn Georgia fan should be talking about fire Kirby right now because his team is better. Hey, and that is the bottom line.
All right.
If we lose this game, Georgia fans have nothing to say at all. Not a damn thing, because everything is in our favor.
All right. Well stated, Zach, and great college football coverage from you there. Now, to put a pretty bow on the college conversation.
Hold on, Mr. 401. I know you didn't comment on any of them games, but at least the game in your neck of the woods. But what do you say?
Oh, you want? Okay, well, I can give you a prediction on the Alabama-Georgia game. I am going to take, even though I believe Georgia, had a great season. They've had a great season up to this point. They've won a lot of games. But the one thing I'll say, Georgia hasn't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they haven't had that game with adversity. You mentioned it, that what happened last week with Alabama, 97-yard drive. Really, their championship hopes were on the line.
Yes.
And they came through. Now, common opponent, Georgia handled Auburn a lot better than Alabama did. But I don't think Georgia's been tested yet, and as we both know, this will be their stiffest test, at least on paper. And so, with that
No, no,
said,
no. No. It will be. Like
yeah,
forget on paper. It will be.
okay, so yeah, it's the stiffest test in Alabama. I'm gonna have them in a close victory at the Georgia Dome. At the Mercedes-Benz Dome. I have Alabama with a close victory. What I think Alabama will do in this game, they're going to try their what they obviously running the ball is pretty much off the table. I think they're going to try to play a more perimeter passing game, screen plays, things like that, stuff that's going to because they're not going to win that upfront battle. We showed the picture of the defensive line there for Georgia.
Yes.
So don't even try to deal with that. I think Saban is going to just succumb to that and be like, look, we're not winning that one. So we're gonna play on the outer edges here, and I think he's going to try to go deep. I think he's going to try to throw wide, if you will, and kind of implement some things like that, and keep the game close enough. I mean, talent wise, recruiting wise. I mean, it's not like Alabama don't have, top three in the nation talent on their roster. And so with that said, I think Saban is going to kind of outdo the guy that we kept showing his picture, and that's Kirby Smart. And I think Alabama's going to squeeze out with a victory here.
If they do, it will be impressive because their top running back Robinson should be out, and supposedly, on the shows, they have I think Trey Sanders, and is the only scholarship back. The next guy is a walk-on, supposedly.
Yep.
But yes,
and we know how that goes with Alabama. They lost some NFL receivers the previous year, and the other receiver comes in and wins the Heisman. It's crazy over there. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I want to hear your opinion. If that happens right there, that will have significant effect on the CFP and some team. If Alabama beats Georgia, I would think it's a possibility. And I know everybody has said it's not. It would be a possibility Georgia might not make the college football playoff.
Wow,
really? Well, because if Michigan wins, Michigan has one loss. They won the Big 12. I'm sorry, Big 10. I would expect that they would be probably stay at 2. Alabama would fall to 1 with the victory over Georgia. You have Oklahoma State. Whatever you might think about Oklahoma State, if they win, they're going to have one loss. They will have beaten Oklahoma 1 week, beaten Baylor twice in the season. They're a champion. You would like whatever you might think about Georgia, then you have to start looking at resumes. Who's beat more ranked teams? And if you kind of want to say like the highest ranked team I think Georgia's beat right now is Clemson, which is in the 20s. I mean, that's not overly impressive, and you wouldn't have a conference championship. So you'd be in the debate with Oklahoma State. Like I would think Oklahoma State would be in. So really, it would come down to what do you think of Cincinnati versus Georgia? And if Cincinnati is 13-0 with a win against Notre Dame, who right now is sitting as the number 16.
Yeah, that's.
I would tell you that Georgia is better than Cincinnati, and Georgia beat Cincinnati in the playoff. I would just say this: if you're Georgia, it behooves you to win, because if you don't win, you're putting yourself in a situation where if you don't make the college football playoff, the teams that get above you, they would have legitimate chance. Now, I wouldn't see Notre Dame sliding in, and this is what I was going to say earlier. Even if Cincinnati loses, Notre Dame shouldn't jump Cincinnati, because Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, and not only did they beat them, but they beat them at Notre Dame or in South Bend, Indiana. So that has to mean something, and it's interesting you put that guy up there, because that's why I was saying earlier about Luke Fickell for Cincinnati. I believe if Luke Fickell wants the Notre Dame job, he gets it. And I think that's Marcus Freeman.
Yes.
And I know it's rumored that he's going to get the job, but I don't think that he has it yet or that it's been offered. I would guess if Fickell turns it down, then Notre Dame doesn't go with him. Now, the funny thing is Freeman was Cincinnati's defensive coordinator last year. So that would be very interesting to see if Freeman would actually stay at Notre Dame if Fickell came. And if Fickell loses that bowl game, would you still want him to come to Notre Dame to be the head coach? But Georgia has Cincinnati has a lot on the line. Georgia has a lot on the line. If Alabama does what you said, they will really make things difficult for other teams.
Absolutely. So, Zach, now that you
Yes,
mentioned, so now it's a great transition because you brought up a couple what if scenarios. So before we get out of here, we're gonna go back to Georgia, Alabama, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you four scenarios in this matchup, and let the listeners know what you think the fallout would be out of these four scenarios. So we'll start off on the positive side here for your team. What if the University of Georgia wins big over Alabama?
Big or small, just to do both scenarios. If Alabama has 2 losses, there's no way Alabama should be in the college football playoff. Like they get to go to the Sugar Bowl or whatever, be happy with the Sugar Bowl. I think that's where the SEC champ would be going, how they designate things. And you just be happy with that. Because how do you take them over Oklahoma State when Oklahoma State would I will say you'd have to go with the other chaos, but let's assume that the favorites win outside of Alabama.
Okay.
You can't take a 2-loss team over conference champions when think about back to the Florida game. Alabama struggled to beat Florida. They just struggled to beat Auburn. I forget who they played the week before, but they struggled to beat them. They lost to a Texas A&M team that I think is 8-4. So yeah. I would say they're out, and they shouldn't even be under consideration to me.
Right. Okay. What if Georgia, again, your team, what if they win, but it's in a nail biter? It's like a field goal at the end, and Georgia kicks the field goal down 2 and wins by 1. Do you still think Alabama's out?
Same thing. I don't see how the committee, because who cares about a close loss? Like whether you lose by 1 point or you lose by 1,000 points, I don't think they have close victory in to win it on these standings or close loss. They just have W's and L's. If Alabama loses, they out. They need to win to be in my opinion.
All right. Well, since you said win to be in, let's go the other way. What if Alabama wins big over UGA?
Tell me what big. Tell me what big is, especially with this defense, because big might be if Alabama goes out there and high, Georgia should win by 17 points. Yeah. If Alabama goes out there and wins by like 17 points, to me that would be a big victory against Georgia.
Right.
But that's not necessarily from a point spread standpoint a big victory. But if you're telling me Alabama goes out there and beats Georgia by 30 points, so specifically, what type of point spread are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking anywhere between like 12 and up. So 12 and up, 12 to 17, 12 to 18. They handled Georgia. Like it's over with in the first half.
And this is where I'm gonna say, like you trying to be the Seattle Seahawks guy. If Georgia loses and they don't have a conference championship, and you're telling me Michigan wins, Oklahoma State wins, and Cincinnati wins, I don't think you can put Georgia in over Oklahoma State or Michigan, because if I'm the Big 12 or I'm the Big 10, I'm like, you mean to tell me a team that loses in the SEC championship is better than our conference champion that has one loss? So it comes down to Cincinnati. And this would be where you have to tell me, is a Georgia team that quote unquote would have lost to the best team on its schedule, and we'll go that by the 17 plus points or whatever on a neutral field, is that better than Cincinnati? I'll say this. I would not put Georgia in if they lose and once again the favorites win. My guess is that the committee, if Georgia loses, would have Georgia as the number 3 or number 4 team based on how they rank Alabama. So if they put Alabama at 2, they would put Georgia at 4. If they put Alabama at 1, they would put Georgia at 3. So you don't get a rematch in the semifinal. You would only possibly get in the national championship.
Gotcha.
And if Georgia, and if you go with, say, this somehow, though, if what you say happened, I might be out there jumping off a damn building. If Georgia loses by 30, oh, they out. And I say possibly 20 plus, unless it's like the quarterback gets hurt, and then you're going with some like crazy scenarios. Georgia loses by 20 plus, they probably out. They definitely have to keep it close to even be in consideration. And to me, even if they did, you get an L. I mean, it's 4 teams. If it was 8 teams or 12 teams, I would get it. It's hard to like everybody was saying Ohio State was all world. And this is what I cautioned you about. We talk about this off air. Like, it's not the NFL. In the NFL, everybody plays comparable teams, so you can get an idea who's good.
Right.
Georgia's schedule is kind of a paper schedule. I'm not overly impressed with what they did. Like, I would expect Georgia, the way they recruit, to do what they did. For me, I'm a little more concerned about that first game of the season where they only scored 3 points against Clemson, where seeing Clemson turned out not to be be that good. So now Georgia would have a big loss, and you want me to put them in over maybe some other individual teams. I couldn't do it unless it came down to Georgia and Notre Dame.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, for formality, if Georgia loses on a last-second field goal, same thing. You have them out.
If Michigan, Oklahoma State, and Cincinnati win, I would have, like, if I'm being the honest broker, I have to put Georgia out because you're not a conference champion. And unless you just want to tell me that, like, and you'd have to tell me the victory that Georgia has is so great. And I don't think they have any of those this year. Like, their best victories, Clemson, Arkansas, and I think Kentucky. And they are all, I want to say, ranked 20 or later. Those ain't great victories. So why should I just give them the benefit of doubt? They would have, and this is going to sound harsh, they would have had an opportunity to get themselves into it, right?
Right. Yeah, with the victory. So, I mean, with all that said, I mean, this is now, making this matchup even more important. And it's for both. I mean, it could possibly be, winners in and losers out.
Now, I mean, if the best case scenario for Georgia on Saturday is Oklahoma State Michigan. I think Michigan is just going to win it, but let's just go Michigan, Oklahoma State, or Cincinnati lose. Some combination of those teams lose because when you compare Notre Dame to Georgia, Georgia is in. Because they both, like, Notre Dame can't win a national championship, which is what always screws them over. So they be in over them.
Right.
So they just need one of those teams to lose. But if those teams win and you lose to Alabama, I mean, it's just one of those things, like, it's kind of like big brother, little brother thing. It sucks that Eli Manning is Peyton Manning's little brother and that he had to always go be compared to Peyton Manning. But that's just the cards you dealt. You in the conference with Alabama, beat Alabama. LSU did it. Other teams have beat Alabama. Just beat them. Like like these scenarios you're talking about, if you just beat them, everything is good. You don't beat them, I'm not going to argue for a team that loses.
Right, you're putting it in the committee's hand at that point. So control your destiny. Control your own destiny. All right. Well, hey, man. So I'm certain Kirby, is going to get wind of this episode here, and he's going to talk to your players, and he's going to make sure they get it done for you, Zach.
Well, I hope so, and not just for me, but for all Georgians. The Atlanta Braves, and thankfully before the MLB lockout, won a World Series. The Hawks have started to pick it up. The Falcons remind us that we're still in Georgia and that they are the Falcons. but I think they're actually kind of sort of on the cusp of making the playoffs. But Georgia bleeds what black and red overall as a state. It's time. It is no excuses.
Well, look, all eyes will be on the game this weekend. So it'll be exciting, man. And we'll talk about it, in the aftermath of this weekend.
I will not. Look, I will not. I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. I will not.
Well, we'll hunt you down, Zach. We'll find you. We got to check on you if Georgia don't win this now.
You ain't got to check on me. I have no faith in Kirby, but he has no excuses.
All right, Kirby. You heard that, Kirby.
And I'm sorry. And the part I didn't emphasize. Kirby has 100+ million reasons with these contracts they giving out now to do this. Like, if you kind of like the Baker Mayfield thing, as we talked about, Kirby should have more motivation than anyone to make sure this game goes well. And look, if $100 million don't motivate you, Mr. 411, then hell, I don't know what to say for you.
All right, well, he's got a tall task. He got a tall task ahead of him.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. That's the beauty of this thing is, we give our previews and everyone can have their anticipation to the game, and then we're going to see how it plays out. Yes,
we will. I will enjoy it regardless until the final moments.
There it is. All right. Well, this is the final moments of our episode for this week, but we will reconvene next week with the Sports Brothers show. We thank everyone for watching, tuning in, listening. We thank Heavenly Spa Mobile, as always, for the things they do for us. And Zach, I thank you for being on.
I appreciate it. And I thank you too there, Mr. 411. It's always great talking sports with you. And you made me feel better about the upcoming college football weekend.
All right.
And score update, 13-10 Cowboys Saints.
All right. And the Cowboys are doing a good job of making one of my picks look bad already.
And the Cowboys are doing a great job of helping me not make the fantasy playoffs, since I'm the last team right now. So thank you, Cowboys.
Oh yeah. Good luck to you on that, Zach. And I'm one of the teams that's
yes, I know.
I'm gonna be rooting for you to do well, but just not quite well enough.
I'm rooting for you to lose. I ain't gonna lie. You got more points than me. So I tell you, I need you to lose and a couple other people to lose just in case we don't handle everything. And what does Antonio Brown do? Oh, absolutely. And what does Antonio Brown do? Fake this thing, 3-game suspension, so I won't get him for the playoffs regardless of whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Man. Well, what you going? I guess you can release him then.
No.
Well, I tried, man. I tried.
He'll be on the IR.
Let's hope you let him slide. Oh, we need another update. Did Dallas just score?
Oh, and Pollard's one of my guys. Good job, Cowboys.
Wow, that sucks.
Hey, look, it might be a good weekend, God. Look, I might need to go on and get me a lottery ticket. Maybe everything will align with the star. Oh, long run too, not even a short run.
Yeah, that looked like it was a 60-yarder. Looked like about 60 yards on a sweep. Tough sweep.
And just say, I know this ain't the fantasy show, but I will just say Ezekiel Elliott, as you know, has been my starting back. And finally, I said, man, I keep getting screwed on this damn Pollard thing. I'm just going to pick up Pollard, and I'll play both of them. So in between, I just hope that I want to get 40 points in between both of them. But I'm just like, I got to make sure I get points because the Pollard thing was just killing me. And like that right there. Because Elliott, bless his heart, he's cooked.
Man, I tell you. Well, man, that's a great coaching decision, though, to start both of them. So,
no, it's desperate coaching decision.
Well, I mean, not too many people would do it, but, I mean, you had to do it, though. I mean, you had to do it. I mean, it's hard to sit Zeke, but, man, Pollard looks like he is going to be the man next year for the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. But Elliott's cooked, man. It just is what it is. Yeah. He's like a guy that plays for the Lakers, and sometimes you just got to call it.
You gotta know when the time is up, man. All right.
Well, our time is up.
Yes. It is up, Zach. So for Zach, I'm Mr. 411. We thank everybody for watching and we'll catch you next week.
Yes, we will. Have a good one.